They were clearly in the midst of some sort of celebration, seeing as cottage doors and wooden poles had been decorated. Silently suffering the vile snickering of the villagers, I heard a voiceless whisper of a long-dead apparition. It recounted hearing a festive melody, and then began begging not to be skinned, telling assailants of yore that its hide was filthy. Not feeling entirely at ease with this situation, I ran up the hill, past a couple of dancing cultists. But just a couple of feet further up, a whole congregation was performing the off-putting ritual. They hardly noticed me in their collective fever. How did they even earn their keep? Surely they had to harvest something. They couldn't just sustain themselves by merely dancing. As I tried in vain to find a less unsettling part of the village, their manic noises kept tormenting my senses. Oh no, now I've done it. Were they praying? I wondered what kind of god they would worship. Most likely not one burdened with benevolence or kindness. Of course, they came at me with more of those weapons made out of skulls, and as I struck down the second maiden, I heard the lunacy in her death rattle. Him again? I once more faced the twisted lover of other people's skin, whom I'd already bested in that infernal tower in Caelid. Now this villager's obsession with sacrifices made sense to me. This time, he also made a mockery of my shield, and I remembered how I'd only barely won by the skin of my teeth. This was something for the despicable claws. Just like last time, he spun his obscene weapon, made his already repulsive body perform surreal feats of the flesh, and sent waves of black flames towards me. But I was onto him, remembered my training, and pierced that skinny fetishist. Thankfully, I was done with him, this time for good. What a disgusting thing to leave lying around. I didn't want his weapon, that was just nasty. Rising from a deep rest, I was pleasantly surprised by an old acquaintance who had found her way here while I was slumbering.
Ah, we meet yet again. The arm you gave me truly is a thing of wonder. It feels just like my own. Even handling a sword. Perhaps it is foolish to say this to you of all people, but I am sure of my skill with the sword. Thus, I would have you call upon me in battle, should you ever have the need.
Touched by her noble nature, I parted ways with this lovely creature. Had I not already been spoken for, I would have found her quite endearing. But still, I couldn't help but think of the road not taken. It was beginning to dawn on me that there might be a problem with the consummation of the impending marriage. My wife's distinct lack of an ordinary human physique considered. Maybe the union was never supposed to be anything but that of the spirit, and I was actually free to go beyond the gates of profanity with others more to my liking. What now? Were they firing at me? But why? I barely survived those projectiles and begged Torrent to hurry up. Finally arriving at the capital outskirts, I realized that this entire domain had been a battlefield of outlandish proportions. The lands between had seemingly been hell back then. Riding through the rubble of that great war of the past, I suddenly heard a voice I would recognize even on my deathbed.
I see thee, little tarnished, smoldering with that wretched flame of ambition.
He had materialized out of thin air, just like in Castle Stormvale once upon a time. What was it with these fiends suddenly reappearing? Even though I had come a long way and gave him a hard time, he still belittled me and made me feel like a helpless toddler again. This stops here. In my belongings, I found something which felt just right for the likes of him. Took a trip back to the Round Table Hold, sold my runes, bought valuable smithing stones, and made sure that this weapon was given the most exquisite treatment. I was ready for him now. Oh, you like looking, do you? I'll give you something to look at then. And feel. I'll make sure to give you just what you need. Why don't you just die? You tiresome, tedious tyrant! Not in the mood for more trouble, I decided it was time for my grand entrance and headed towards the capital. Lo and behold, another one of those toothless and finger-loving grannies.
Your fingers, please, your fingers.
I wondered how long she'd been sitting here.
The fingers I served, once prophesied. A Tarnished would one day become Elden Lord and restore the Golden Order. Surely you see it too.
But I only saw the depravity of her sick flesh and outdated dogmas. Restore the Golden Order? If that was what the fingers wanted, then it couldn't be the right thing to do.
The fingers will surely guide you.
I'd had enough of her ramblings. That vile lover of sheep encountered at the very beginning of my journey had been right. They were truly mad creatures. Approaching the gates, I dealt with a procession, not knowing where they were, only to realize that I couldn't enter. What a load of dung. Huh, what was that? I came by ancient knowledge regarding the art of parrying, but aside from that, there was nothing here for me. If I were to find my way into the capital, I would have to go the other way around. This part of my journey didn't take as long as I initially feared, and I was fortunate enough to obtain a couple of exotic crystal tears, each boasting extraordinary powers. But I also had a realization. These slowly moving processions of the undead didn't wander aimlessly after all. They were all slouching toward the capital. Were they hoping to be born anew? In that case, best of luck getting past those guardians. Wait, was that who I thought it was? What was he doing here? That ruffian whom I'd last talked to in Liurnia had taken me to heart ever since I bought some of his prawns.
Oh, you again, is it? Perfect bloody timing, actually. I got crab, cooked up fresh.
I didn't really enjoy that sort of food, if you could even call it that, but it made him happy. What in the...
Marika's tits.
Alas, our conversation then took a decidedly dark turn.
There's something I should probably tell you. You heard of the Dung Eater? He's a madman. Has it out for everyone. Curses them. Goes round in his rank armor and all.
Rank armor? Oh, he was talking about that creepy fellow in Round Table Hold.
I was in the same jail as him once, so I know firsthand. He's a killer. Kills people. And curses the souls. Does all sort of shit to the corpses. To keep them cursed forever. I ain't seen nothing more disgusting in all my years. I ain't ever been more scared neither. Rooted to the bloody spot while he did that.
Did I hear him right?
To my friend.
What he had just described was, incomprehensible. Shivering at the thought of that hideous criminal, whose ethereal form I had talked to only weeks ago, I wondered what sort of curse it was. There was something deeply unsettling about that monster and his defiling ways. Not feeling like fighting in the wake of that dreadful story, I decided to look for a less tiring path, and much to my delight, found a large door just beneath the walls of the capital. Surely, I'd arrive unscathed now. I didn't mind going through the sewers, as long as I could avoid bothersome minions pestering me.